Hello everybody, my name is Doa. I've got an instructive video for you today on how to use the Social Golfer app. The Social Golfer app arranges fair groupings and help you schedule golf games, and we'll go through how you can do that today. We have 5 screens. First we have the event screens. You have multiple events that you can arrange, for example a friend golf trip or a club championship or just the weekly games with your buddies. Members, these are the names of the golfers within that event. Sessions, these are the golf days and or even multiple golf events on a single day that you can arrange. Groups is where you arrange the groupings for each session, and a matrix is an overview of who played with whom. I'm going to go through each one of them. In the events, you can schedule 3 different events. I have preloaded your installation with 2 example events that you could use as a trip to Spain or a club championship, and you could see how you could use the system in a different way. You can clear an event, and this will remove all of its data and all of its member data. Let me clear this one. So we're going to use event 1 today. Event name, this is typically the event name. Let me just enter something. And you can use a description to put some contact details for the organizer. For example, a telephone number. You will see later this is useful when you share the event with players. Let me now go to the members. This is the list of members that will take part in this event. Now, you could always add more members later, and not every member always have to play. Let me just add a bunch, and I will show you how we work here. So we'll just enter names because it's more logical than having the word new all the time. Just add some random names here. Sure, that's not how you spell Simone, but it doesn't matter. And Adam. So now it's important to remember that with each name, their history of who they played with is remembered. So you cannot just change a person's name and thinking that place will be now taken by somebody else. So when you have new members, just add new members to the bottom. And you can always delete the last member if you need to. With session, these are your golf sessions. I'm going to add 3 sessions. 2 sessions are going to be historical sessions, and I'm going to show you how you can update historical data. And then the 3rd session is the type of things that you will do when you arrange a new golf day. So let me just add them. For example, this was our game in November, this was our game in December, and this will be our game in January. Now, when you click on this checkbox, indicate whether that day should be taken part into the calculation for best group assignment. As I said before, you could use this system to also arrange different things like transport to the golf club, or who's going to sit in whose car traveling somewhere. Now, let me go to the groupings. Now, this is quite a complicated screen. And first want to just say that you can navigate here through all of your sessions using the arrows left and right. So here we're in November, and I can go to the right and I can see the December scheduling and the January scheduling. At the top here, you will see how many groups are there for that day and for how large the default size is of a group. We can be flexible. This is just the default of it. You have a button here to recompute a group. You've got a button here to save it, and then you've got the list of flights that you have for that day, and the list and a list of people that are unassigned. It will become a little bit more obvious when we go through this. So I'm just going to say for the SPART historical session that we had in November, we had 3 groups, and then I will add typically 3 names to the first group. Then there was, for example, maybe there was only two people that played in the second group, and there was perhaps 4 people playing in the 4th group. I'm just making this up. And these people didn't play that day. Simone, Jeanette, and Adam didn't play that day. So this is just historically. I'm going to save that. If you skip forward going to Matrix, you can see now, we can see exactly who played with who. And these 4 has all played with each other. I'm going to go back to group scheduling. Let me also enter some historical data for December. I'll make that, if you click on that button, it's the most optimal calculation, it's 3 groups. I can say it was 4 groups. And let me just add here some names. I'm just going to add some random names, but in reality you'll have to enter the correct data for who played with whom. Note for flight 1, I've got to add some data. Now, when I save this, we can also say for those days, let me just make this more logical. And we could say that Jack, Philip, and Shane didn't play that in December. When we go now to the matrix, we can see how that calculation looks. We can see that these people played with each other twice historically, and we don't want them to play with each other all the time. So now we want the calculator to fix that. Now I'm going to go, oops, I clicked the wrong button. I'm going to go to January, and here we can use click on this button here, the number 3, to just create the 3 flights. Let's say we have 3 balls. We have 3 balls set up for that day in January, and we recalculate it. So that means we're going to have 4 flights. And then when I click on recompute, it will put in the most optimal calculation for fair grouping. Now, unfortunately, reality doesn't work like that, because Jane and Olivia is not playing that day. So what we do is we can move Jane and Olivia out to not assigned and then lock them here. When we do that and we do a recalculation next time, you will see that Jane and Olivia stays in the not assigned group, and they are not assigned to be playing that day. This is how we can make sure the players that are not playing are not included. But another thing that typically happens is that 2 golfers are saying they want to play together because they're sharing a buggy, for example. Let's say Philip wants to play with Rebecca and they're sharing a buggy. I can lock them together in flight number 2. And when I click on recompute, you will see that they will be assigned another player, but together they will stay in the buggy. Another thing that typically happens is that somebody say, I want to start early. For example, Claire wants to be in the first group, and she doesn't because she needs to go home soon. So I put her in the first group, I lock her to the first group. When I recompute now, she will be staying in the first group. What also sometimes happens is a player that just comes for the day, or there's a random player that's assigned to a group. Let's say Shane and Jack is playing with somebody that we do not know that day. I put an empty slot in that group, and I just fill that empty slot. I lock that empty slot. So when I do calculate now, you will see that empty slot stays with Shane and Jack. That way, just for this one day, there's an empty slot, or it's an external player, but I want the calculator to be aware of that. I'm just going to remove all these locks because it doesn't make that much sense to do them. Another typical thing that you can do is you can use the empty slot just to force, for example, a 2-ball assignment. So for example, I'm gonna say the last flight has to be a 2-ball. So it's got to be one of the slots got to be empty. So I drag an empty slot to that and I lock it. Now if I recompute, you will see that the last flight is actually just 2 players. Now let me save this, and if we go to matrix, we can see that it's made sure that as few players plays with each other as regularly as possible. So there's no freeze here, for example, that was there before. The last thing I want to talk about, I just want to go back to events. You've seen me navigate between events and sessions using these arrows, but you could also use the menu here. What I can do now is I can generate a share code. This will generate a new random code for users. And this share code is something that you could share with everybody through email or WhatsApp. If I paste this here, you will see that these players have read-only access, and they can immediately see where they are assigned for the day. So they will see for January, Adam will see that he's playing with Jack and Simon. A very important thing I forgot to mention, I'm just going to go back to this. You can obviously change the name of the flights by double clicking. You could say this is a start time 9 a.m. Let's say you're starting at hole 10 that day. So everybody knows this, and then you can say this is a start time 9:08, hole 10. Just so that people will also know what their start time is. If they then go and have a reload, oops, I should have save it. If they then reload, they will see what is their start time. Anyway, that's the app. I hope this was instructive.